My son and I did a lot of flying together. We did a lot of everything together. He was just a great man, and we found out in his passing how special he was to a lot of other people and the aviation community. That he used to tell me, he says, you know, Dad, you have cool friends. And the coolest thing was that those cool friends of mine became friends of his. Cajun thing on it. I'm Levi Noguess. Today I flew a Super Cub in the adventure class at the Swamp STOL 2024. Actually, this is my first Swamp STOL because I've been working overseas. So usually during this time of the year, I've been overseas. I watch it on the YouTube and the Facebook feed. It's always been great. I've always wanted to get here. So this is my first Swamp STOL, but I've done a lot of the national STOL. Right. So normally, like you mentioned, I fly a replica of a Fieseler Storch, a German World War II Fieseler Storch. It's a lot of fun, it's a great STOL performer. It's a good crowd pleaser. But 2 days ago, I realized that it wasn't going to be ready for this event. So I do flight instruction in a Super Cub, so I just brought the Super Cub. And,
brought the work bird.
Yeah, brought the work bird, exactly. Well, as far as bringing people under my wing, I don't know. But I grew up around, my dad was a pilot, but we lived on a ranch. And so I grew up around aviation. He always had a plane around, and then he was a crop duster as well. And then he died when I was very young and wound up going in the military. So did a little bit of time in the Marines, and then I went to the Army to fly helicopters and just got immersed in aviation from that point on. And then, my dad always flew tail draggers around the ranch, and so I just gravitated toward tail draggers. And as soon as I could, I found my dad's old airplane in 1999. I found it up in Michigan because it was sold after he died, and I bought it back. 1949 Piper Clipper. I got that, and then I just got more and more into backcountry type flying and off-airport type stuff, and became a CFI. And so now I'm the non-typical CFI because I was a military instructor, but on the civilian side, I'm an older CFI as opposed to the young guys that are just trying to get out there and get their flight time built up. I just really enjoy taking people out, letting the light bulb come on, watching them learn how to land. Most people have never landed anywhere but an airport, a nice long runway. So when they come fly with me in a Super Cub with big tires and we go land on a sandbar somewhere, they're just like, this is just incredible. And so, and that's why these events, highlight what we do, but this is not what this is not the goal. This is just something that people that are immersed in aviation and love this kind of flying do. It's kind of like the rodeo of the cowboys, They do their work with their horses and everything, and then riding, roping, and branding, all that stuff, and then they get together and say who can do it the best. And that's kind of what this is. It's more like a rodeo for pilots that like to do backcountry and off-airport landings. And so I just love to share that. I like to help people do well at it, to be safe, because there is a lot of safety margins in there that we have to adhere to. And so I like to make sure to bring people on board, but let them know how to do it safely.
You went up there and you found that plane.
Yeah.
It was flyable?
It was flyable, and if you want that, so the story on that plane was it's a 1949 Piper Clipper. My dad flew it, he bought it, and we used to go flying in it. This is back in the 70s. He had a CB radio in it, and he used to fly. Trucker. Yeah, and he used to fly over the highway, and he would say, "Hey, everybody, y'all got a bear in the air. You better slow it down." You'd see brake lights come on for miles. It was just funny. So I got the plane. I brought it home, and that was a, like a milestone moment. In my life. And so I like to make sure to bring people on board, but let them know how to do it safely. You went up there and you found that plane. Yeah. It was flyable. It was flyable, and if you want that, so the story on that plane was it's a 1949 Piper Clipper. My dad flew it, he bought it, and I took my son for the first ride in that plane, and that was like a milestone moment, in my life. And then as my son grew, he got his pilot's license, and then he flew that plane, and then he owned that plane. And so full circle, it was just a really neat thing. So, and I still have the plane. It's still in the family. So
you went up there and you found that plane.
Yeah.
It was flyable?
It was flyable, and if you want that, so the story on that plane was it's a 1949 Piper Clipper. My dad flew it, he bought it, and we used to go flying in it. This is back in the 70s. He had a CB radio in it, and he used to fly. Trucker. Yeah, and he used to fly over the highway, and he would say, "Hey, everybody, y'all got a bear in the air. You better slow it down." You'd see brake lights come on for miles. It was just funny. So I got the plane. I brought it home. And I took my son for the first ride in that plane. And that was like a milestone moment, you know, in my life. And then as my son grew, he got his pilot's license, and then he flew that plane, and then he owned that plane. And so full circle, you know, it was just a really neat thing. So, and I still have the plane. It's still in the family, so.
I mean, not to get into the politics of things, you're a little bit older, but you still do social media. You're everywhere online.
It's not that easy, believe it or not. I mean, you know, and I don't really think I do that much. I want to do more on certain aspects of it, but I usually just try to film a little bit and then just, you know, punch it off, like you said, you know, direct to social media or something, you know. And really, I found it's a way to connect with people. And, you know, recently we had a pretty milestone event in my life, and those same people have really come to me and embraced my family in a time of need. And that's one of the greatest things about these events is the people are just so tight-knit, and they're all for each other. You know, Dan Reynolds, the guy the STOL champion, undisputed, you know, he will talk to you, he will tell you all the secrets, because there are no secrets. We all want everybody to do better. And, you know, it's not like some sports where, you know, you're trying to beat the other guy. We're trying to beat ourselves, and we're trying to do consistency. You know, like my Super Cub today, it's not competitive really with some of these experimental MOACs and stuff like that, but it's, you know, my job or my goal was to just be as consistent as possible, safe. I got to fly the airplane home, and you know, so if you can't be good, look good, you know. So that's try to do that.
You're always looking good.
Well,
You're always looking good.
I appreciate that.
Always sharp.
I had a kind of a Forrest Gump kind of career. I just kind of chased, you know, couldn't figure out what to do when I grew up, you know. So started off in the Marine Corps. Actually, I went to the Naval Academy, didn't finish. Went to the Marine Corps, did recon, force reconnaissance like that. Got to blow stuff up and shoot stuff. And went to the Army Special Forces School. Got a little demolitions training there and engineer sergeant. Then I came back to the Marine Corps, and eventually I was going to get out and sell real estate because I wanted to do a little bit more than just be a grunt, which was fun, but you know, I was growing up, and wound up getting in the Army flying helicopters, and then I flew King Airs in the Army, and then I wound up flying a jet in the Army, which was, you know, I was just blessed beyond belief with that. And then when I retired from the Army, I wound up contracting overseas, flying a King Air, doing what they call surveillance work over there. And I've been doing that for a few years, and I just quit doing that in April. So I have a business also. I have a little sign business, Fast Signs, and it's a franchise. And then I do flight instruction, like I said, tail wheel instruction off airport, stuff like that, flight reviews and things like that for, you know, just general aviation pilots. And then I like to travel and do things with my wife, and that's one of the best things. My wife and I have been married almost 34 years now, so we want to spend more time together, doing more adventurous things together, but just being together.
And family, I know, is huge and important to you.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about anything on camera?
Recently, my son passed away, as you know, in July. And like I said, the aviation community and the STOL community in general really came together and supported us. And it was really special, really special. So my son and I did a lot of flying together. We did a lot of everything together. He was just a great man. And we found out in his passing how special he was to a lot of other people. And the aviation community, that he used to tell me, he says, you know, Dad, you have cool friends. And the coolest thing was that those cool friends of mine became friends of his. And it was all through the aviation, or not all, but mostly a lot of the aviation. It was just so amazing how they turned out for me and my family. So yeah, that's been very special.
Yeah, tremendous, man.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank, you know, I cannot thank the people, people in my life in general. You know, my wife and I, we have a lot of faith. My son passed away. I can't imagine going through this without without faith in God and knowing that we're going to be meeting again in heaven. And you know, there's a whole lot of things, and you ask me what my plans are, what my future holds, and to be honest, we still don't know for sure. You know, we on a daily basis, we wake up, we count our blessings, and we thank God for what we have. Of course, it'll never, you know, you don't get over something like that. But I've been contacted by other people that have said that we are inspiring to them, and it's not a position I sought to be or a purpose I sought, but it's nice to know that I can help some others. And then there's been others that have helped me. It's just an amazing world we live in, amazing people, and amazing, God that we have. So,
Amen.
Here we are.
That's right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.